And after about 3 months at university, I feel unhappy. I feel frustrated. I'm enjoying my course, and despite the unicycle incident, I've managed to make a few friends. But fundamentally, I feel frustrated. I've just had this year traveling, fortunate enough to go to a few interesting places and meet all sorts of weird and wonderful people, and I'm hungry to do more. I feel frustrated and limited. And so I call up my twin brother, who's also just started at university in Leeds. He's studying design. And I explain how I'm feeling, and it transpires that he shares the same feelings that I do. And so after many long conversations, much deliberation, and to my parents' dismay, we agree together that we'll both leave university, drive back to London, register a production company, and try and do this YouTube thing full time. And I'm terrified. I really don't know how this will work out. And so my mum is not taking this lightly at all. Every morning, 8 a.m., she's in my room. Well, you've left university to work. You better get to it. And so we do. Together, we register a production company. We call it Digital Native Studios. And we start to make more videos. We make more and more videos. Slowly but surely, the subscriber count grows. We're able to generate a small amount of income. When I arrived at university, I received an email from Google, and it says, hey, how would you like to be a YouTube partner? And apparently, I've never heard of it before, but apparently you can make videos. You can make money making videos. A small amount of money every time someone clicks on one of your videos. It seems like a ludicrous idea because to me, of course, up until this point, my only motivation for making videos was for the enjoyment of it, for the fun. But curiously and eagerly, I sign up. And so we're making these videos, and we start to generate a small amount of income, and we're able to continue our travels. And it feels really exciting. And so we get back from India, and we have tons of footage from this trip, and I'm totally overwhelmed. I've never edited anything like this before. And so I realize we need some help. So I send out a tweet, I put out a Facebook message, and we hire a small team. We need space to house these people, and so we look for an office. We find a little office near my home in London. And from there, things sort of begin to snowball more and more. All the while, our YouTube subscribership is going up. We should be happy, but we're not. Fundamentally, we're not. And gradually, Finn and I start to talk. And it becomes harder to make sense of the amount of people who are following the YouTube channel. How do you keep this many people happy? Of course, some people want one thing and another want a whole other thing. And so the pressure starts to increase. And gradually, the digital world starts to morph into the real world when you begin to be recognized in the street, or people turn up at your front door. And suddenly, you have some personal questions to ask yourself. From a creative standpoint, do I make what I want to make, or do I make what I think will get the most views? And from a moral standpoint, should I take some money and sell that product, or should I stick to my values? And so Finn and I begin to talk, and Finn is particularly unhappy at this time. He feels that he's in the wrong place in life. He's not on his life path, and he pines after design, which is what he was first studying at university. And so on a whim, he applies to study architecture in New York City, and he's accepted and offered a scholarship. And so before we know it, he's getting ready to head to New York for 5 years. So then I have a decision to make. Okay, do I call it quits and do something different myself? Or do I go at this thing alone, give it one final shot? I decide on the latter. From the outset, everything seems great, but in reality, it's not. Finn's left, and I still feel deeply unhappy. I'm on my own for the first time in my life, and I'm managing the biggest workload to date, the employment of 3 people, the running of a production company, the running of a YouTube channel. All the while, the audience want to see more of the old stuff and less of the new stuff. And so every day I'm coming into the office and I'm confidently instructing these 3 people what to do. And then I'm going home at the end of the day, curling into bed and crying because I'm so scared. I'm terrified, I'm lonely, I'm out of my depth, and I'm overwhelmed. And so over a tricky process, we close down the business, we move out of the office, I move back home, and I retreat into my bedroom. And I enter a particularly dark period of my life. After a while of really not doing very much, some friends and family convinced me to see someone. I do. I'm diagnosed with clinical depression and prescribed daily antidepressants. And this comes as a shock. Of course I know what depression is. I have friends who have suffered depression. But I never thought I would suffer depression. I was always the happy guy. And I suppose that's really a misunderstanding of what depression is. And I also think there's a stigma, right, around mental health, especially with young men. You have to be strong and confident, and mental health is seen as a weakness. It's a taboo. And so after this diagnosis, I decide to hide it from friends and family. I don't want to talk about what I'm experiencing. And especially on social media. I use social media to make it look as if I'm happy and everything's fine and I'm still traveling and having a great time. And of course, this creates a divide between how I feel and how people think I feel. I further isolate myself in the depression. And so a little time later, I go to a school reunion. It's my 5-year school reunion. I'm feeling miserable, but I convince myself to go. And it's a really significant experience for me. It's the first time I've seen a lot of friends in a while, and it's great to catch up, especially face to face. And a lot of people, well, a few people came up to me and they were like, hey, you seem like you're doing great. And I would be really honest. I'd say, yeah, I've had this amazing couple of years, but I've got to be honest and say that I've been battling depression. And this amazing thing would happen where their guard would instantly drop, and in return they'd share their experiences of battling depression or anxiety. And as much as they were surprised to hear about my experiences, so was I them, because my only view of them was through the rose-tinted lens of social media. And so since this time, a bit of time has passed, and a lot has changed. And it feels great to stand here today and say that I've never felt happier, I've never been more productive, and I feel like I have a great sense of balance in my life.